You're nothing without me, Jake. Absolutely nothing. Victoria's words hung in the air of our Silicon Valley apartment like toxic vapor from a server room fire. She stood there in her designer blazer, fresh from another client dinner that ran until midnight, looking at me like I was a bug she'd found in her code. I kept my face neutral, continuing to debug the authentication protocol on my laptop. "You're probably right," I said, not looking up from the screen. 20 years of programming had taught me that the most dangerous responses often came wrapped in agreeable packaging. She blinked, clearly expecting more of a fight. "That's it? That's all you have to say? What else is there?" I closed the laptop and met her eyes. "You work in marketing. You understand value propositions better than I do." Victoria's perfectly contoured face twisted with frustration. She wanted drama, wanted me to grovel or rage or do something that would justify whatever she was planning. Instead, she got the same methodical response I'd give to any other debugging session. "I'm going to bed," she announced, like it was some kind of punishment. "Some of us have important meetings tomorrow." I nodded and watched her storm toward our bedroom, her heels clicking against the hardwood floors we'd installed when she got her promotion to senior marketing executive. Everything in this apartment had been upgraded in the past year. The furniture, the art, the kitchen appliances. Everything except our marriage. My phone buzzed with a Slack message from my team lead asking about the deployment schedule. I was a senior software engineer at TechFlow, one of those companies that burned through venture capital like firewood while promising to revolutionize how humans connect with data. The kind of place where marketing executives like Victoria were treated like digital prophets, while engineers like me were seen as necessary but interchangeable cogs. The funny thing was, I actually enjoyed the work. There was something beautifully logical about code. If you wrote it correctly, it did exactly what you intended. Unlike people. I opened my laptop again and returned to the authentication bug. Clean, methodical problem-solving had always been my refuge. Victoria never understood that what she saw as boring was actually elegant, every function serving a purpose, every variable named with intention. Around 2 a.m. I heard her phone buzzing from the bedroom, then whispered conversation, then the soft sound of her moving to the living room, probably thinking I was asleep. "No, Kyle, we can't move it up," she was saying in that hushed tone she used when she thought she was being clever. "He's been suspicious lately. I know, baby, I can't wait either. Paris is going to be perfect." Paris, that was new. I stayed perfectly still on the couch, listening to my wife plan what sounded suspiciously like a romantic getaway with someone named Kyle. The methodical part of my brain was already cataloging questions. Who was Kyle? How long had this been going on? And most importantly, was she using our joint accounts to fund her affair? "Just 2 more weeks," she continued. "Amanda thinks I should just tell him I'm going for work. I know you booked the presidential suite. You're amazing." When she finally ended the call and crept back to bed, I remained on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The authentication bug suddenly seemed like a minor issue compared to the much larger system failure I was dealing with. My wife thought I was nothing without her. Tomorrow I'd start testing that theory. Victoria left for work the next morning with unusual enthusiasm, mentioning something about a big project that might require travel. "I might need you to look at my laptop later," she said. "It's been running slow and you know how hopeless I am with technical stuff." The irony wasn't lost on me. The woman who considered herself the brains of our relationship was asking the nothing husband to fix her computer. I opened her MacBook 37 minutes after she left. Victoria had always been careless with passwords, the same combination for everything. Her browser history was a treasure trove. Hotel bookings, flight confirmations, restaurant reservations for a romantic Paris getaway with Kyle Brennan, venture capitalist at Meridian Capital. The real revelation was in Victoria's Gmail drafts, an unsent message to Amanda Price. "Amanda, can't believe we're finally doing this. Kyle booked the presidential suite at the Plaza Athénée for 2 weeks. He says after Paris, we can figure out the divorce situation. Jake won't even see it coming." I screenshot everything. 20 years in tech had taught me the importance of documentation. My phone rang, TechFlow's CTO asking about our security audit. Just discovered a significant vulnerability, I told him. Going to need deeper investigation. Security breaches can be devastating if not handled properly. He had no idea how right he was. I built a comprehensive timeline, 8 months of affair, 4 months of divorce planning, 2 weeks until Paris. Victoria had been using our joint accounts to fund everything, dinners, trips, even therapy sessions to process her feelings about Kyle. My phone buzzed. Working late again tonight, don't wait up, love you. I texted back. Discovered some security vulnerabilities that need immediate attention. Her response, you and your computer stuff. At least someone finds you interesting. If Victoria thought I was nothing without her, she was about to discover what nothing looked like when it had root access to everything. I called in sick and spent the day at TechFlow investigating Kyle Brennan's digital footprint. His Instagram showed expensive dinners at restaurants I recognized from our credit card statements. His LinkedIn revealed connections to every person Victoria claimed to be networking with. When I cross-referenced Victoria's calendar with Kyle's public appearances, every pattern matched. They'd been hiding in plain sight. Amanda Price called around noon. Jake, I was hoping to catch Victoria about some travel details for next week. Travel details? A pause. Just some girls' trip planning. Wine country or something? That's nice. I know Victoria's been researching European destinations lately. She left Paris travel guides around the apartment. Complete silence, then, Paris? Yeah, probably just dreaming about future vacations. After Amanda hung up to warn Victoria, I continued my investigation. Kyle's business partner Derek appeared in the background of their photos, always watching. This wasn't just an affair. It was systematic resource extraction with multiple participants. At 2 p.m., Victoria called from a restaurant. Listen, I might be late tonight. This new project is getting complicated, and our client, wants to discuss additional requirements. The casual slip revealed her comfort level. She'd stopped being careful around me. Kyle? I don't think you've mentioned him before. Oh, he's just one of the VCs we're pitching. Very hands-on. I could hear Kyle's voice in the background making her laugh. By evening, I'd assembled a comprehensive case file. Victoria came home at 11 p.m., flushed and smiling. How was your meeting with Kyle? I asked. She froze momentarily. Oh, just business stuff, very boring. Try me, I might surprise you. Victoria laughed condescendingly. Jake, sweetie, stick to your code and computers. She kissed my head like I was a child and headed to bed. If she wanted to treat me like nothing, I'd show her what nothing could do with administrator privileges to her entire life. Friday morning brought revelation wrapped in domestic routine. Victoria emerged from the bedroom wearing a new dress I didn't recognize, humming while she made coffee. The transformation was remarkable. Months of treating me like an inconvenience had been replaced by almost manic cheerfulness. Beautiful day, isn't it? She said, not waiting for an answer. I love this time of year. So many possibilities. I nodded from behind my laptop. Speaking of possibilities, I've been thinking about our finances lately. Her coffee mug paused halfway to her lips. Our finances? Yeah, just general planning stuff. Making sure we're optimized for the future. I kept my voice casual, engineer discussing system maintenance. I noticed some unusual spending patterns in our joint accounts. Unusual how? Just higher than normal, probably nothing, but you know how I am with data anomalies. Victoria's laugh sounded forced. You and your spreadsheets. I'm sure it's fine. We both work hard. We deserve to enjoy ourselves. Absolutely. I'm just thinking we should maybe consolidate some accounts, streamline our banking. More efficient that way. She was trying to read my expression, looking for signs of suspicion. But I'd spent 20 years debugging code. Maintaining neutral affect while investigating critical system failures was literally my job. That sounds complicated, she said finally. Not really. I could handle most of it online this weekend. Very straightforward. Victoria's phone buzzed. Kyle probably wondering why she seemed tense. Actually, sweetie, this weekend might not be great for financial planning. I just found out I need to travel next week for work. Oh, where to? Europe. Market research project. Very last minute. That's exciting. Which cities? Another pause. Victoria was realizing that lies required consistent details, and she hadn't prepared for an interrogation. Mainly Paris. Some London meetings too, probably. Still finalizing the itinerary. I nodded thoughtfully. How long will you be gone? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Depends on how the meetings go. That's a significant trip. The company must really value your work. She smiled, finally on comfortable ground. They do. This could be a big career breakthrough for me. I returned to my laptop, pretending to be absorbed in code while Victoria finished getting ready. She left with unusual haste, forgetting to kiss me goodbye, probably eager to update Kyle on our conversation. 20 minutes later, I was logged into our joint banking accounts, implementing the consolidation plan I'd mentioned. The beauty of being married to someone who found financial management boring was that I had legitimate access to everything. Victoria's paycheck was directly deposited into our joint checking account. Our savings, investments, and credit lines were all linked through my login credentials. She'd given me power of attorney years ago for convenience when she was traveling for work. I began methodically transferring funds into accounts that required both signatures for access. Then I called our credit card companies and requested spending alerts for any charges over $50. Finally, I contacted our travel rewards program and placed a hold on all point redemptions pending suspicious activity review. The Paris trip Victoria was planning would suddenly become much more complicated to execute. My phone rang around noon, Victoria sounding frustrated. Jake, are you doing something with our credit cards? I just tried to buy lunch and it was declined. That's weird. Let me check. I pulled up the account. Shows here that you're at your daily spending limit. Did you make any large purchases this morning? My daily spending limit? Since when do we have a daily spending limit? It's part of the fraud protection system I set up. I can increase it if you need. Just tell me what you're trying to buy. Just lunch. With Amanda, this is embarrassing. I'll fix it right now, but maybe we should review all our security settings this weekend. Make sure everything's optimized. There was muffled conversation, Victoria talking to someone, probably Amanda, explaining why her card wasn't working. Jake, can you just remove all the limits? This is ridiculous. I'd rather not do that over the phone. Security protocols, you know, but I can give you temporary access increases as needed. This is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about, she said, her voice sharp. You make everything so complicated with your systems and processes. Just trying to protect us, honey. Identity theft is a real problem these days. After hanging up, I continued implementing safeguards throughout our financial infrastructure. If Victoria wanted to fund her affair, she'd need to have some very awkward conversations with me about specific purchases. Around 3 p.m., Amanda Price called me directly. Jake, hi, I hope you don't mind me calling, but Victoria seems to be having issues with her credit card. Yeah, we upgraded our security systems. Very sophisticated fraud detection now. That's great. The thing is, we were planning to book some travel arrangements today and she's worried about spending limits. What kind of travel arrangements? Silence. Amanda was realizing she'd called the wrong person for help with this particular problem. Just some weekend getaway stuff, girls' trip planning. Oh, that's nice. Domestic or international? Still deciding. Well, if you let me know the amounts and destinations, I can adjust the security settings accordingly. We just need detailed information for the fraud protection algorithms. Maybe I should have Victoria call you back about this. That works. I'll be here all afternoon optimizing our security protocols. After Amanda hung up, I sat back and reviewed my progress. Victoria's access to our shared resources was now filtered through me, whether she realized it or not. Kyle's funding for their romantic getaway had been effectively cut off. Amanda was beginning to understand that her friend's husband might not be as oblivious as advertised. The Paris trip was scheduled for next Friday. In exactly 1 week, Victoria would discover that her carefully planned escape had been systematically dismantled by the nothing husband she'd been planning to abandon. My phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. We need to talk tonight about these banking restrictions. This is getting out of hand. I texted back, absolutely. I've discovered some very interesting security vulnerabilities we need to discuss. Should be an enlightening conversation. Victoria came home that evening like a storm system, all energy and pressure. She'd brought takeout, probably thinking food would soften the conversation. We need to talk about this banking situation, she said. These security measures are interfering with my work. I served pad thai, taking my time. I thought you'd appreciate enhanced protection. Identity theft's been in the news. Jake, be serious. I can't function with you monitoring every purchase. The system just requires authorization for unusual patterns. I kept my voice neutral. Speaking of which, I noticed some interesting transactions. Did you know we have reservations at the Plaza Athénée in Paris? Silence stretched, like a network timeout. Victoria was calculating how much I knew. That's research for the European project. Research that includes a presidential suite for 2 people? Her face cycled through surprise, anger, calculation, then settled on defiance. I don't like what you're implying. I'm stating facts. I opened my laptop, showing booking confirmations. Hotel booking for Jake and Victoria Morrison, presidential suite charged to our joint Amex. Victoria stood abruptly. You've been spying on me. I've been reviewing shared financial accounts. I clicked through screenshots, including sharing you with Kyle Brennan. The name hit her like a system crash. All defiance disappeared. Jake, I can explain. Please do. How long have you been using our accounts to fund your affair? Victoria sank back, defaulting to making me feel guilty. This isn't how I wanted you to find out. How did you want me to find out? After Paris? After divorce papers? It's not like that. Then what is it like? I clicked to more evidence. Because it looks like systematic resource extraction with multiple participants. Her phone buzzed. Kyle, probably wondering about the banking situation. Are you going to answer that? She shook her head, looking genuinely scared. Kyle's been embezzling from his company to fund your relationship, I said. His expense reports show discrepancies. He's been billing personal expenses as business development. That's not possible. Very possible. I cross-referenced his SEC filings with our statements and his social media. While you used our money, Kyle used investor money to finance the same affair. Victoria answered her buzzing phone. Kyle? Jake knows everything. He says you've been… What do you mean embezzling? Kyle's panicked voice came through the speaker. Victoria's expression shifted to horror. You said you were handling everything. Kyle, don't hang up! But he had. Victoria stared at the dead phone. He says there's an investigation, securities fraud. He can't travel. I nodded. Anonymous SEC tip yesterday. Very detailed documentation. You did this. I reported financial fraud, seemed responsible. You destroyed everything. I considered this. Actually, I just stopped funding it. You were right about one thing. I am nothing without you. And you're about to find out what nothing looks like with administrator privileges to everything you thought you owned. Victoria grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Your credit cards won't work. I've suspended them pending fraud investigation. She spun around. You can't do that. Joint account holder privileges. But I can give you temporary access if you tell me exactly what you plan to purchase. Victoria stared at me, then walked out, slamming the door. I finished my pad thai, reviewing the evening's progress. Phase 1 complete. Victoria understood my knowledge and control over our shared resources. Tomorrow would be educational for everyone involved. Saturday morning arrived with deceptive Silicon Valley sunshine. Victoria entered cautiously, deploying her professional persona for damage control. Jake, are we going to talk about this like adults? What would you like to discuss? She sat across from me, hands folded in her client meeting posture. We've been married for 8 years. That has to count for something. I nodded. You're right. 8 years of shared assets, joint accounts, collaborative planning. It definitely counts for something. Relief flickered across her face. So we can work through this? Absolutely. I've already started the process. I turned my laptop toward her. I sold the house. Victoria stared at the screen like it was displaying error messages. You… What? Sold the house. The power of attorney you gave me covers real estate transactions. Closing is Monday. You can't just sell our house. Joint property, legal authorization, motivated buyer market. Very straightforward. I clicked to the next tab. I've signed a lease on a one-bedroom in Mountain View. You'll need to make your own arrangements. My own arrangements? This is my home too. Was your home. The buyer takes possession Wednesday. She paced frantically. This is insane! I'm just optimizing our resource allocation for changed requirements. I opened another tab. I've also liquidated our investment accounts and consolidated our savings. Consolidated where? Accounts requiring both signatures for withdrawal. Very secure. My phone rang. Amanda. Victoria says you've lost your mind, Amanda said. Just the opposite. I've finally found it. Victoria grabbed the phone. Amanda, he sold our house! I'm going to be homeless! Can't you divorce him and get half? Amanda asked through the speaker. Half of what? He's hidden everything. Actually, it's all properly documented, I interjected. You just need my signature for withdrawals. Victoria looked at me with genuine fear. Jake, please. We can fix this. I'll end things with Kyle. Kyle's already ended things with you. His business partner Derek sent me an interesting message. Kyle's wife found out. She's filing for divorce. Kyle's being investigated for embezzlement and can't contact potential witnesses. Witnesses? You, Amanda, anyone who might testify about his financial activities. I showed her Derek's messages. You've become a liability. Her phone buzzed. She read it, face going white. Amanda canceling lunch? I asked. She nodded numbly. Amanda's protecting her brand. You're now a reputational risk. I stood up. You told me I was nothing without you. You were planning to test that theory by taking everything and disappearing to Paris. I headed for the door. I'm just running the same experiment from the other direction. Let's see what you are without everything you thought you owned. Monday evening found me in my clean one-bedroom apartment with excellent Wi-Fi and a view of TechFlow. Victoria had called 17 times since Saturday. I'd answered none. My doorbell rang at 8 p.m. Victoria stood there with a single suitcase, looking exhausted. Jake, we need to talk. We talked Saturday. I have nowhere else to go. Amanda says my situation is too complicated for her brand. Kyle's wife froze his assets. He's living in a corporate apartment and can't be seen with anyone connected to the investigation. That's unfortunate. Jake, I'm your wife. Are you? Because for 8 months, you've been someone else's girlfriend while using my resources. She set down her suitcase. We can fix this. Fix what? You liquidated our emotional assets months ago. I just followed your lead with the financial ones. Derek called you. Kyle's telling people the affair was your idea, that you seduced and manipulated him. He's positioning you as the primary bad actor to minimize his legal exposure. Victoria stared. That's not true. Doesn't matter what's true. Matters what his lawyers can make a jury believe. Jake, I know I hurt you, but we're still married. We have transaction history, but emotional history? You deleted that when you decided I was nothing without you. She picked up her suitcase. So that's it? 8 years and you're letting me walk away with nothing? You're making your own choices, just like you did with Kyle, just like when you planned Paris. She walked toward the elevator, then turned back. I really am sorry. You're sorry you got caught. Sorry your exit strategy failed. Sorry Kyle became a liability. That's not what I meant, but it's what happened. I stepped back. The experiment's complete. We both know what nothing looks like when it has administrator privileges. The door closed between us. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Hope your emergency resolved okay. New security project could use your expertise. I texted back, emergency resolved, system overhaul completed, ready for enhanced protocols. My wife had been wrong about one thing. I wasn't nothing without her. I was something much more dangerous than nothing. I was free.